So I just watched the movie Orphan First Kill. It was released in theaters today, and I wanted to make a video about it while the topic is still fresh, and, just give my initial thoughts. To begin with, I've always liked the first movie, Orphan, from 2009. I actually think it's one of the best horror films that the 2000s had to offer. But when I heard that they were making a prequel set to be released in 2022, I was a bit surprised. I didn't exactly know how they were going to pull it off. I already knew that the actress Isabelle Fuhrman was going to reprise her role as Esther from the first film. The only problem, though, is that she's playing a character that's supposed to look like a 9-year-old girl. It may have worked in the first movie because she actually was a little girl at the time, but that was over 13 years ago. Now she's in her 20s, and this is supposed to be a prequel. So I have to admit, I was curious because I wanted to see how they'd pull it off. I didn't exactly know where to set my expectations, but nevertheless, I watched the movie, and it was pretty good. It was actually much better than I expected it to be. It follows the backstory that was partially explained to us in the first movie, but also expands on it. If you're not familiar with the first film, then it's going to be kind of difficult to explain. But to sum it up real fast, the story involves a little girl who lives in Estonia. Only she isn't a little girl, she's actually a 30-something-year-old woman with an affliction that stunted her growth at a young age. She lives in a mental hospital, and she has the reputation of being one of their most dangerous patients. She's a loose cannon who causes harm to herself and others, so she constantly needs to be restrained. And let me tell you, if you're one of those people that don't like movies that have slow beginnings, then you'll love this film. Right after the opening titles, the film jumps straight into the action almost immediately. Eventually, this woman breaks out of the mental hospital and then she moves to America. Once she makes it to America, she searches the database of missing children and tries to find a girl that closely resembles her. The closest match she finds is a girl named Esther, so she dolls herself up and pretends to be Esther, only so the real Esther's parents can take her in. At this point, you think that the whole movie is going to follow the same formula as the first film, but no, not quite. This one goes in a much different direction. The less I say, the better. I want this video to be spoiler-free, but let me tell you, you have to see this movie. Things take a turn in such a way that your jaw will drop. And let me tell you, I've seen enough horror films to where I usually know to expect everything, and even I was thrown off guard by what happens in the second half of the movie. It seriously needs to be seen. Once again, Isabelle Fuhrman knocks it out of the park with her performance, and in regards to my skepticism on how they were going to make her look like a little kid, well, you could see there was not much they could do, even though they tried their best. You could still tell that she's an adult now. I mean, it's not like there was much they could do about that. It's not like they can magically turn her into a little kid. Not to mention, I'm one of those people that despises CGI, so I'm glad that they didn't go that route. Instead, they used camera tricks and stunt doubles to make her look smaller. I mean, it kinda works, but at the end of the day, it's really Isabelle Fuhrman's performance that sells it. Thank God they got her to perform this role again, because quite frankly, I wouldn't have watched it if they used anyone else. And the fact that she looks older actually helps in my opinion. There's something about her face that looks more sinister and creepy looking than it did in the first movie. Now, in regards to things I didn't like about this movie, I felt like they really rushed the ending. That may have just been my first impression, but I feel like it could have been less abrupt. Also, while this movie does follow key elements from the first film, by the second half, it goes in a far different direction. Some people may argue that it went too far. It has a much different formula than the first film. Unfortunately, I can't really say anything else without spoiling it. Also, I feel like this film alters the backstory from the first film just a little bit too much, but maybe that's just me, I don't know. You'll have to watch it and decide for yourself. But aside from all that, I enjoyed this flick. Like I said, I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. It had me at the edge of my seat, and it kept me entertained from beginning to end. I also like how it wasn't too long. It was only an hour and a half, which is A-okay to me. But regardless, I definitely recommend you watch it, especially if you're a fan of the first film. That pretty much concludes this video. Thank you for watching, and if you guys enjoyed the video, then please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.